Welcome into another episode of the Daily Staley podcast. I appreciate anyone who's liked, shared, and followed. You can find our blog at thedailystaley.com, and then you can listen to our podcast on YouTube under The Daily Staley. So Bears got a big win versus the 49ers. Obviously, that's been talked about at length. I thought Justin Fields had a good second half. Struggled a little bit there in the first half. Obviously, playing in those conditions is a whole different animal. I thought Getsy called a much better second half. I thought he was way too conservative in that first half. I know the conditions were terrible, but you saw the Niners opening it up a little bit. But I think he made adjustments, and that's the big thing that we want to see as a NFL head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. You need to be good in situations. You need to know what's going on. You need to utilize your timeouts, and you need to be able to make adjustments. That was always the big fault with Matt Nagy. He was so concerned about his playbook that he would miss simple things like getting guys, personnel groups, snap counts, getting guys lined up correctly, swapping people out. He was so dead set on being the play calling genius, which he was not, that he also let the head coaching stuff fall by the wayside too. So not to go down the Nagy route, but I want to make a reference there. So obviously just off of a one-game sample size, I've been impressed with Matt Eberflus. I think he's confident. He's stoic in nature. I think Luke Getsy called a very nice second half. The play of the game, which a lot of people talk about the scramble drill to Pettis. That was a beautiful scramble drill. Found a guy wide open, and good job by him settling in an area, and good job by Justin Fields avoiding the pressure and then also rolling out to his left and then going through his reads and finding the open man. So I thought that was good. But to me, the play of the game was the third down. I think it was 3rd and 2, maybe 15, 20 yards out, and I thought, man, we just got to get a first down here. Like, don't blow field goal position. We at least need a field goal. And we call a beautiful little layered route where Pringle comes in. You see him pointing, kind of making it look like he's blocking someone. Equanimus St. Brown kind of releases right up the seam, and just Justin Fields puts it on the money. There's actually a couple open guys on that, but Justin Fields went for the money ball and just put a beautiful pass. I think a lot of people – I played football for 12 years. I was not a quarterback per se, but eventually I did play a little bit of quarterback. And I think people don't realize how hard it is to throw a football in good conditions that accurately with people in your face, pads on where you can get hit, and also in those weather conditions. I mean, just getting a grip on an NFL football and then throwing a touch pass like that is insanely hard. It's 10, 20, 30, 40 yards in those conditions. It's hard for a receiver to haul it in, but to put touch on it and get a spin on it. And same for Trey Lance. I'm not going to hold him totally accountable for some of the misses he had when the conditions were just out of control. I thought he struggled a little more than Justin Fields, but I think there was a lot of unfair criticism his way too. He looked good in the first half. I mean, he was hitting some touch passes. He missed on a couple that probably would have opened it up for San Francisco, but he'll learn. He's a rookie, and I think he's got a lot of upside too. But I just think people are so unrealistic when you see all the stat sheet, and it's like, oh, he was 8 for 17, and it's like, you can throw all that out the window when you have those conditions. I just think a lot of people who maybe didn't play football or sports in general are very unrealistic when they see those stat lines. Stats are like a bikini. They show most, but they don't show everything. And that's just kind of how stats are. But nevertheless, they got the win. It was a big win. When I made my preseason prediction at the end there, I picked the Bears to win 10 games, which is very, very optimistic. I said if things go south, I think they'll win 6. If things go really well, they could win 10. But they really, really needed to win that opening game to kind of keep that prediction alive, and they did. Now you've got a matchup against Green Bay, arch rivals. Obviously, they've more or less kicked our ass for the past 20 to 25 years, barring a few different occasions. But they're not the same old Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is getting a little bit older, a little bit slower, a little bit crankier, a little bit more drugged out. I'm just kidding, kind of. They don't have Devontae Adams. They didn't have a couple guys last game, including Bakhtiari and Lazard. So it looks like they're going to be healthy again, which is good. I never want to see guys unhealthy. And, let's let them be at full strength at home in a must-win game. Let's beat them under those conditions. I don't want to beat a bunch of guys that are out. I don't want to beat a backup quarterback. I want to beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, make them 0-2, and really send him into a tailspin. We'll see if that happens, but I think it's possible. One of the main reasons I think it's possible is this isn't a weary, veteran-laced team that has seen the likes of Aaron Rodgers beating them down for years. This is a fairly young, talented, a lot of rookies on the team. You have a few guys that were on the team in 2018, I believe, that have experienced beating Green Bay and winning the division. And then the rest of the guys, they don't care who Aaron Rodgers is. They're like, hey, we beat the Niners. The Niners beat them at home last year. Why can't we beat them? And that's why winning that first game was so crucial. Confidence. The Eberflus hit system. I've played for coaches similar to his style, and it can be a totally different feeling. The accountability is really high. Sometimes it's almost in your face, and some players don't deal with that well. I think maybe that's what Jenkins was dealing with a little bit. Sometimes it can almost feel like you're being singled out, and I don't think that's what they mean to do, but a lot of times that style works more in college than it does in the pros, because these are all professionals. They don't want to be talked to in a certain way. They don't want to sometimes be held super accountable about stuff, and that's what Eberflus does. So, love him or hate him, it's very crucial when you get success in that first game, because now guys that were maybe bought in but not this guy's kind of cheesy, now they're like, shit, maybe this guy's onto something here. We beat the Niners at home, a playoff team, a team that was a play or two from the Super Bowl. So big stuff there. I think the Bears have a good fighting chance in that game. Obviously, Green Bay's favored. I think it's 9.5. That's probably the proper spread. I think this Bears defense is good enough that it's within a touchdown, even if they do lose. I don't see Green Bay really just hanging a bunch of points on them. I think one of the keys is Kyler Gordon. I think he really needs to make sure that he stays on assignment. And it's a learning process, new defense. He's a rookie. But he did have a couple blown assignments in that game. And if you miss a couple guys versus Aaron Rodgers, he'll score every time. I mean, we've seen it. He just doesn't miss. The guy is one of the most accurate throwers of football. So you just cannot have those blown assignments. We've been killed by it in the past. 2013 or 14, Packers come into town. Cutler actually balls out, outplays Aaron Rodgers. I think Cutler had one pick, Rodgers had two. And then the blown coverage, and the Packers beat the Bears, and there's a missed playoff appearance. So you just cannot miss assignments. Aaron Rodgers will kill you. So yeah, those are the big things. You gotta not blow assignments. You have to your deep ball coverage has to be supreme. It's probably not very likely that any of those Packers receivers are going to drop a pass this week after last week. They had about as bad a week as you can have versus Minnesota, who looks really good, by the way. But I expect the Packers to bounce back and be tough. But this Bears team has a ton of confidence. They've got a moxie about them. They just played in terrible conditions. And I think, truthfully, with all the talk about that weather, I think that weather benefited San Francisco much more. They're a power run team with big, strong defensive guys. The Bears are a speed team. The Bears need to be able to cut and, use their speed on the perimeter. And they couldn't do that a lot in the rain. So I think a little nicer conditions favors the Bears. They've got a lot of speed in that wide receiver room. Sounds like Velus Jones Jr. is on the mend. I believe he's supposed to play, barring any setbacks with the hamstring. So, yeah, a lot of exciting things going on. Even if the Bears drop this game, perspective is important. They should not win this game, and I think that's hard to say as a Bears fan. They're going up to Lambeau. It's a hard place to play during the regular season especially. You're playing one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. They've got more talent on the team than the Bears. I think this Bears team is more talented than people realize, but Green Bay still has a better roster, let's be honest. We have a rookie quarterback, but I think the NFL is a week-by-week league, and I think you can throw a lot of that stuff out. Very rarely have I truly believed the Bears were going to go up to Lambeau and have a shot. Even when they did win, in the past 10 years, I'm like, oh, geez, well, that was nice. That was not expected. Usually Green Bay got the better of us for one reason or another. This is the first time in a while where I'm like, I truly don't know. I could see Green Bay winning by 2 touchdowns. I could see the Bears winning. I really don't know. Rodgers has a stinker a lot of times the first game of the year, so I do expect him to bounce back. But I don't think he has the weapons that he's had in the past. I mean, I know he doesn't. To the scramble drill's not going to work as well for him. He has a very aged Randall Cobb. He has Alan Lazard. He's got some rookies that have some good speed, but I don't think he has a Devontae Adams where he can just throw the ball up in the air and the guy's going to come down with it, and that's bailed him out a lot of times versus the Bears as a guy like that. Randall Cobb back in the day, Jordy Nelson. So we'll see. I think the Bears, the key to the Bears winning this game, and I listed a whole thread, but the biggest key is a fast start. You cannot go up to Lambeau, get down 10-0, 14-0, and expect to try to run an offense. They are going to pressure the crap out of Justin Fields at that point. They're going to ball hawk. It's just going to be a long night if you get down early in Green Bay. So I think Luke Getsy knows that. He knows Aaron Rodgers as well as anyone, which I think will help on the scheming side. Oh, sorry, we had a little technical difficulty there, but he knows Aaron Rodgers as well as anybody on the scheming side, and I think he's going to put together a game plan that is going to put the Bears in a great position to take the lead early, and that's where it's all at. If the Bears can get up 7-0, 10-0, 14-0, and make Green Bay just start fighting amongst each other, Aaron Rodgers is pouting and they're yelling on the sidelines, this coaching staff is much smarter situational-wise. They're not a Matt Nagy. They're not going to take the foot off the gas and just go, okay, prevent defense. I mean, how many times has Matt Nagy blown a second-half lead against Green Bay? I mean, I don't think this regime is built that way. I think they're smarter than that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's a Sunday night football, which I think Brendan Segru posted a stat that 11 of the last 12 Sunday night matchups between Green Bay and the Bears have been in Lambeau, which is funny. I mean, it's kind of bullshit, honestly, but it's just that's what happens. Green Bay's been a better team, so they're going to get those games. So I would love to see the Bears win unexpectedly again, get everybody talking about them. And kind of be the beginning of the end of Aaron Rodgers crushing the Bears, Obviously, the comments he made last year, I think a lot of that's still fresh in a lot of guys' minds. The week leading up, he's always very complimentary, and the Bears are tough, and Roquan's a good player, and they got more talent than you realize. And then when the game starts, he's just a complete asshole. He's rubbing it after the game. He says stuff about. So I don't buy his BS comments about how good players are. I mean, the guy's frankly kind of an asshole. But, yeah, I mean, he's had the better games against the Bears for years, and he kind of has owned them. So I would love to see the beginning of the end of Aaron Rodgers, and that could start Sunday night. Who knows if he comes back next year? He signed, a 2-year deal, but the way he's acting and if they don't have success this year and they bounce out of the playoffs quick, is he going to want to come back at, 38? Is he going to want to come back for another season? Is he going to hold out? Are they going to have the money to go sign another big wide receiver? I don't know. But, yeah, let's be the ones to start that domino effect on Sunday. So I'm excited about the game. I'm going to wrap this one up pretty quick. I just wanted to get a nice little podcast out there before the game. And, Sunday night football under the lights. Sounds like we could have a little bit of rain again, but I don't expect monsoon-type conditions. And I truly don't want those conditions, even though they won. I want to see the Bears' speed. I want to see Fields mobile. I want to see what we can do in normal conditions. And let's shut a lot of these national haters up that say we can only win in a monsoon. Bear down.